Okay, I want you to picture this. You log into Brightspace. You find your course. Course info, yeah, no, skip that. Learning outcome, yeah, we're going to skip that too. The course description, well, I already know what class I signed up for. I'm going to skip that. Syllabus, what the heck is that? Yeah, oh, wait, where's the info about my textbook? Like, when are things due? How do I contact my instructor? Yeah. So guess what? Those are all in the syllabus that you just skipped. No one ever wants to read the syllabus. Like, trust me, as an instructor, I don't even want to write it. It's dry, it's boring, it has a weird name. But by the end of our episode, you'll know exactly what to look for and how to find it in about 5 minutes flat inside that syllabus. Business instructor Krysia Mager is here to help us figure out which syllabus sections actually matter right now. So let's get to it. So, Krysia, welcome to the show. And we start by telling everyone a little bit about yourself, like what you teach and how long you've been at GCC, and how did you end up in our little corner of the world?
Well, thanks, Loy, for having me today. I'm Krysia Mager. I teach advertising, marketing, and social media classes here at GCC. This is actually going to be my third full year here. And I'm actually a cougar at heart. I grew up about 5 minutes down the road. Graduated from here in 2004 myself with a journalism communications degree. And I did the 2+2 program. I don't know if they still call that around here, but I did that and then went to SUNY Brockport and then ended up at Marist College with my master's in integrated marketing communications. And I was like, you know what? I should go teach at GCC, my hometown college, right?
It's funny how many of our instructors here were originally, from here or took classes here. It's something about the college that just brings you back.
Right. I love
Right.
it. I'm actually on the old annual report cover on one of from, the early 2000s.
Oh, so we should go look that up and post that on social media, right?
Yeah, right. Guess this instructor.
All right. So let's talk about the syllabus a little bit.
Okay.
So if there's a student listening right now who's never read a syllabus all the way through, and I want to speak to you, like you're not alone and you're not lazy. I mean, it looks like a lot of fine print, and probably nobody ever told you why it matters. The students who do read it, they're not smarter than you. They just know something you don't. And now you're about to learn how. So, Krysia, from your side of the desk, let's start with this question. Can you tell which students actually read the syllabus and which ones didn't? And what does that usually predict about their semester experience?
Oh, yeah. You could absolutely tell which ones read it. They just tend to have more of a smoother semester. They understand the expectations of the class. They know where to find the important information, and they're usually better prepared for the deadlines and the major assignments that are outlined in the syllabus.
Right, right. So be honest with us. Has a student ever emailed you a question that was already answered, like word for word in the syllabus? I mean, what is that like?
Absolutely. And it really happens more than you think. I get a lot of questions like, when's this assignment due? Or do you accept late work, when all of that is actually answered in detail in the syllabus? I'm always happy to help, but it could be a little frustrating sometimes because that syllabus is supposed to be where the students look first, the contract for the class. They're supposed to visit that first and then come to the teacher with the questions.
Right,
Yeah.
right. All right. So let's jump to how do we read the syllabus? So now we know, it's a good idea to get in there. And I don't think anybody ever reads a syllabus front to back, like page to page to page. I think mine is 10 pages long. Like I wouldn't expect you to sit down and read 10 pages of stuff. So there's 5 things though, if I understand right, that are good to learn from the syllabus that is save you from a bad experience. So first up, instructor contact information and office hours. So and what even are office hours? Like, do I just show up? Do I need a reason to be there? Do I introduce myself? Oh, social
Right?
cringe.
So scary. So office hours are really just simply the time that your instructor sets aside for students. So whether you want to introduce yourself or if you have questions or if you want to talk about your progress in the class, it's great. We love having students come visit us in our
Mhm.
office, and we really enjoy that time. You also don't need a formal reason to come. You can introduce yourself, but I mean, we're there. It's easier to answer a conversation or answer a question in a conversation sometimes than an email. And it
Mhm.
also helps us get to know our students a little bit better. We really enjoy office hours, honestly.
Yeah,
Wish
yeah.
more students took advantage of it because we're there to help.
Well, and that's true online too, especially if you have like an online class. I think as an instructor, you think you're sending these messages out into the ether and you get assignments back. So you know the students are reading some part of it. But how nice is it to see a face and hear a voice?
Oh, it's great,
Yeah,
honestly. And I try to put up videos just so people know, me behind the name, essentially, especially online classes.
right.
But yeah, stop at any time. We love it.
Okay. So, the second thing that I've heard is important about the syllabus is the grading breakdown. So, and I feel like, it's math. So, students kind of look at it and say, okay, I don't want to look at that. And they skip over it. But can you tell us, like, why grading breakdown really matters and what students are getting wrong or why they should really get it right?
Yeah, so the grading breakdown really shows you where your effort will have the greatest impact in class, right? So students sometimes spend hours worrying about, I got one or two quiz questions wrong and they equate to 2 points out of the 1,000 that you can get for the semester. And I'm like, that's okay. It's only, a quarter of the grade where the big project might be 40%. So you kind of want to look to see what carries the highest weight, where you should, I mean, all of them are important.
Hmm.
All assignments are important, but you really want to take a look and see where your efforts should be focused. Yeah, so for example, your final project is week 15, makes up 40%. I'd suggest putting that in your calendar, week 11, week 12, start preparing for it, getting ready. It also helps, the grading breakdown also helps you understand your grade throughout the course. So one disappointing quiz won't ruin your semester, but repeatedly missing assignments
Hmm.
or waiting till the last minute to do that giant project can make it harder to recover in class.
All right. So, it gives you an idea of where you should put your effort from the maximum impact.
Yeah,
Okay. That sounds like a smart plan.
right?
All right. Third, let's talk about the really boring fine print, but probably the most useful section. And we talked a little bit about it earlier. Policies like late work, attendance, AI, plagiarism, like, extra credit. So, what's your late work and attendance policy look like? And what do you wish students asked you about it or read about it in the syllabus instead of just guessing or having a panic?
hmm So I'm very upfront. I don't accept late work in my classes. I mean, being a business instructor in the business world, you have to turn things on time. And if you can't make it, I'm not a monster, but communication is the key with
Mm-hmm.
that. And you have to communicate ahead of time. So I normally tell my students, if there's an issue, reach out to me and I'll work with you.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you turn things in a week late with no explanation, it makes it a little harder to work with the student in particular. So I put that in my syllabus. I'm very upfront in the beginning of class. And I'll make an exception maybe the first week or two, get everybody in line. But after that, we're like, okay, let's go. We're on to the next thing. We're on to the next topic.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get moving.
Right. Yeah, and there's a considerable difference, I think, between a student who reaches out ahead of time and says, "Hey, I got this thing coming up, and I might be late. Is there anything we can work around with that?"
Oh, yeah.
Versus a student who turns it in late and then asks for points later.
Yes,
Yeah.
agreed. I even had a student that knew he was getting married last semester and said, hey, this week I'm going to get married. I might be a little late. And I go, listen, totally fine. Thanks for letting me know. I appreciate the communication, and that's the kind of thing that we want. Your
Yeah.
adults, your students, we understand you have a completely different life outside of college, but just keep that communication line open with your professors. And I
Hmm.
think it'll get you further.
I had a student who had an emergency deployment, but I think you win.
Yeah.
I'm getting married this week.
Right.
Okay. Like,
Right. Very
take
exciting.
the week off.
Right.
The course will be here when you're done. All
Right.
right. So let's talk a little bit about AI because I know AI is so confusing. Like I will probably have somebody from the library in here again this semester to talk about AI again because every time we talk about it, it shifts a little bit.
Mhm.
Can you help clarify?
Yeah, I mean, AI is a hot topic right now, and that will vary with every different class, right? So I happen to love AI, and I think it's a great tool. But really, that's what it should be. And that's what I try to communicate both in my syllabus and in the first week of class. Like, it should be used as a tool. We don't want AI to replace your thinking,
Mm-hmm.
but rather enhance it. How can you make it better or think of it a different way? So I allow AI in a lot of different things, but I don't allow like the plagiarism of AI, if that makes sense.
Right.
I think it's great for brainstorming opportunities. Um, you know, they just also need to disclose that use. I
Right.
also think it's great. I also teach business communications for changing tones in emails and
Right.
business emails. So I even have assignments that say, write an email, now put it into AI, and what do you think? Like a reflection.
Right.
But with AI, every class is going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
And it's expanding, it's growing, and I think it's gonna change, but we're gonna see a lot more of it coming out.
Yeah. Yeah. Every time you turn around, it's different.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to the fourth thing that you need to look for in your syllabus, which is your required materials. So you have textbooks, you got lab kits, you got things you got to buy.
Mhm.
If I feel like I can't find the right online textbook or something, I'm going to end up buying stuff I don't need. What advice does the syllabus
Okay.
help us with?
Well, it definitely says what you need, what's recommended, as opposed to what's required. So I would double check that. Also, don't assume that an older edition will work. Sometimes it's fine, but other times the course requires like an access code
Mm-hmm.
or a homework platform. So if you're unsure, check your syllabus, or if you want to email the instructor or wait for confirmation on the first day before purchasing one
Mm-hmm.
of your books. Also, a huge resource people don't use is the library, right? They have reserved copies of a lot of textbooks, I believe. They have
Mm-hmm.
rentals, they have digital versions, they even have laptops that you can borrow. So, really, the goal here is to make you succeed in your classes. So, reach out to anybody that you can, use your resources when possible, and the library is a big one in that case.
Oh yeah, huge, huge. The number of digital resources that they have, it shocks me to begin with, and then it surprises me every semester when I hear how they've expanded.
Yeah.
And this semester is no different. I listen to them talk about how many more digital versions of the textbooks they have online to let students borrow, and wow, okay,
Yeah.
didn't know you could do that.
It's
But
great. And I don't think too many people know about it, in all
no,
honesty. It's a great resource.
we can absolutely use that resource. All
Yeah.
right. Well, let's talk about the fifth and probably the most important thing in the syllabus is the course schedule or the course calendar. So, and I before we say this, I want to do a caveat because I know some instructors put the course schedule in their syllabus and some instructors have it as an extra document. So like
Mhm.
if you're looking in your Brightspace course, you'll see course syllabus and then right under it you'll see course schedule. So this might not be in the syllabus file, but technically it's part of the syllabus. So can you walk us through what a course schedule is and what shakes out from our course schedule?
Sure. Mine is actually an addendum to the syllabus, so it is separate, but it's a nice one-page Word document where I break down by week what is expected of you through the course
Mhm.
and what will help you succeed, breaking it up, what to read for that week, what's the assignment that's going to be due, right? So the course schedule is really where the entire semester becomes manageable. Okay, so like I said in my classes, I do that week by week schedule. Um, and it really helps us visualize what we're doing that entire semester and can help you plan really well, right? So I once had a student kind of disappear for a few weeks, come back around 12 and then say week 12, excuse me, I want to do all this work. And I was like, well, you know, I'm not sure how that works because I've had it outlined, in the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So really, I do encourage you to check that in Brightspace regularly. And most importantly, communicate early if something's getting in the way of doing that. Add deadlines to your calendar, set reminders for major projects,
Mm-hmm.
and reach out before you fall too far behind to avoid that. So a few minutes of planning in the beginning of the semester and
Mm-hmm.
using that schedule to help you
Mm-hmm.
will, prevent a much bigger problem later.
Yeah. So one thing that I learned just this past spring, this was a brand new thing I learned, is that students can actually sync their Brightspace calendar with their Apple or Google calendar or even the college Outlook account. So if you have if your instructor is putting the deadlines in Brightspace, they show up in the Brightspace calendar, and now they show up in your Apple Watch or your Google Calendar or your Outlook account. And if the instructor moves things around, they'll just move around on your calendar automatically. So you sync it together, and it's a calendar you're already looking at.
Yeah.
I thought, wow,
That's amazing.
I love that.
And another great resource.
Yes, yes. And for those students who are listening and thinking, I want that, the instructions for doing that are in the success course for GCC students. that blue compass thing we keep telling you to open, the instructions are in there. All right. So we've talked about, what you should be looking for in the syllabus, but I know like a syllabus shouldn't be a one and done. Like you read it at the beginning of the semester most thoroughly, but you are supposed to go back to it throughout the semester, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the syllabus isn't something you read and forget about. Students should return to it whenever they have a question about a deadline, assignment, grade, course policy. I'd suggest revisiting it both mid-semester and near finals. That really helps you understand where you stand and really where to focus your effort while there's still time to really make a difference before the end of the semester. And the first day syllabus walkthrough matters too. I know a lot of instructors go over their syllabus to start. That's, when they explain how the class will operate, they emphasize the policies they enforce and really clarify anything that may not be obvious from reading alone. I also review how to get into Brightspace and the course schedule that we just spoke about. So even if the syllabus and all that accompanying information is posted online, being present and paying attention to that conversation will help you save a lot of confusion later and best prepare you for the semester, really.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So you just talked about, what's in their policies and clarifications and going through the syllabus. So what's negotiable in your class and what's not?
Okay, I try to be flexible about how students get support. I'm happy to explain an assignment differently, answer questions, review an idea, set up office hours, right? But if a student communicates with me early about a genuine issue, I'm always willing to have that conversation about what options may be available, so I can be flexible there. What isn't negotiable is disappearing for weeks and then coming to me and expecting to make up an entire semester work. Like, hey, I can do it. You might be able to, but is that really a great learning experience for you? I'm also very firm about academic integrity, submitting your own work and really meeting the essential requirements of the course. I need to apply those expectations consistently and fairly to everyone. So my advice is always ask that it's always okay to ask, but ask early, be honest about the situation, and understand that asking doesn't automatically mean the answer will be yes, but I can be flexible when I can. That conversation needs to happen, the communication.
And there's that balance between being flexible for a student who needs the flexibility versus being fair to the other students who, would probably benefit from that opportunity.
Right.
So you really have to be fair to the whole class and decide, how far can I really flex on this before it becomes unfair to the other 28 people in the class.
Right. That we're submitting on time and doing everything that we asked of early on.
Right.
Becomes a balancing act.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. On a tight rope.
Yeah, right.
Over top of the pool full of crocodiles.
Right.
Right. All right. So let me ask you this one, and this is maybe a sideways question, but it does have to do with the syllabus a bit. What do you wish students asked you instead of just guessing about it?
So I wish more students would come to me and say, I'm struggling. What can I do next? Or what should I do? Can I talk about where I stand in the course? Because I'm always happy to help and have those conversations. Those kind of questions really open the door for us to make a plan before the situation becomes overwhelming. Sometimes it's a little harder when it kind of blows up, So getting early on, I know I had one student that was afraid to come talk to me. And once she did, she's like, you're not too bad. I was like, thank you. I know. Right? The syllabus might look intimidating, but, come talk to me. It's a whole different experience. And I really just also wish, students would ask for more clarification if they need it. Any question is great. It really shows that you're taking responsibility for your learning and for your education. So all of us really want to help, but sometimes we can't address a problem that we don't know exists. So
Mm-hmm.
Always talk to us, you know?
Yeah. And the sooner we get to a question, the smaller it is, the easier it is to fix before
Yeah.
it snowballs into something really, really big. And now, okay, no, it's too late to fix that now.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
Totally agree.
So, really good advice for our students and, hopeful to make them successful. So, right now, and speaking to you, students, before you do anything else, open Brightspace. Actually look at one syllabus. Open it up. I know it's awful, but open it up. Find those 5 elements, okay? Office hours, your grading breakdown, the policies, the materials, and the course schedule. Do what you need to do with that information. And if your syllabus is confusing, or if you need help decoding it, you can talk to your advisor. You can reach out to online learning. Honestly, just use your instructor's office hours. That is what they're there for, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, Krysia, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Loy. I've really enjoyed it. And my biggest advice to students is to think of the syllabus as a tool, not just like a list of rules, essentially. It's really there to help you understand the course, plan ahead, and know where to turn when you need support. So just take a few minutes, like Loy said, read it, ask questions early, and keep checking it throughout the semester. Those small little habits can really make a big difference in your education.
They absolutely can. I think my favorite students are the ones, well, no, I don't have favorite students. But if I did have favorite students, they would be the ones who read the syllabus
Right.
and showed up to office hours.
Yes. And the office hours really helps make that connection, that personal connection.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I had a
Love it.
student show up almost the whole summer and show up in my office hours, and we just had great conversations,
Yeah.
after going through, questions like, okay, well, let's talk about some other things now. And really, really fun and nice to make that personal connection with the
Yes,
student.
agreed.
So, all right. Well, that's it for this week. So thank you for being here. And now I
Thank
get
you
to
again.
introduce you to our podcast mantra, because our podcast has a mantra, which is appropriate, I think, for community college. Our mantra: progress, not perfection. What do you think?
Love it.
All right. See you all next time.